Hi, my name is Carissa Duquette, and welcome to my term project for Indigenous Studies 100. I have focused this project on the Mayan people of Guatemala and surrounding countries. For this project, I have researched some aspects of Mayan culture and life, such as language, their sophisticated calendar system, the Spanish conquest of their land in the 1500s, as well as some facts about their culture. The Mayans are an indigenous group of people from Guatemala and surrounding countries of Honduras, Belize, the southern regions of Mexico. There are approximately 26 languages of which the Mayans speak. The Mayans are distinguished by their language. I have touched briefly on some information of these languages and where they are recognized. Mayans have a very complex and sophisticated calendar system. In fact, the calendar system is the first thing many people think of when they think of Mayan culture. We will touch more on this and the attention the Mayan calendar was given by the world in 2012 in the following slides. There are a few different types of Mayan calendars. The most common used calendars are the long count calendar, the Tzolk'in, and the Hab. We will touch on the significance and purpose of these calendars shortly. In the 1500s, the Spanish began to raid and colonize the Mayan people in Guatemala and surrounding countries. The colonization of the Mayans was not one event, but rather a span of violence and mistreatment of indigenous people for hundreds of years. There is technically no one Mayan language, but rather approximately 26 languages in the Mayan language family. Guatemala recognizes 20 languages within its borders, and Mexico recognizes 10 Mayan languages within its southeastern regions. Mayan languages are also spoken in the United States, Belize, Honduras, and other surrounding south-central countries. The Mayan calendar consists of 3 separate calendars, the Hab, the Tzolk'in, and the long count calendar. These 3 calendars are used simultaneously together. The Hab cycle is a calendar cycle that is 365 days, 19-month calendar. There are 18 months which consists of 20 days, and 1 month that consists of 5 days. The Hab cycle follows a solar or tropical year. This calendar system is the most similar to the Gregorian calendar which we use in modern time. The Hab cycle, however, does not have leap years, and since solar years are about 365.2 days long, it can be slightly inaccurate. The written Hab calendar is circular and has outer rings of glyphs, each of which represent a personality of the month of which it associates. And the Hab cycle is known as the civil cycle. The Tzolk'in cycle is a 260-day calendar with 20 periods of 13 days. The Tzolk'in is used to determine the time and day of religious, cultural, and ceremonial events. It is the oldest calendar system in Mesoamerica and is known to the Mayans as the sacred calendar. The long count calendar is an astronomical calendar and is used to track long periods of time. Mayans call this cycle the universal cycle. Each one of these cycles is about 7,885 years long. The Mayans believe that the universe is destroyed and then recreated at the start of each of these long count calendar cycles. On December 21st, 2012, the long count calendar cycle had ended, and it was believed by many that the world would come to its end on this day. This began the 2012 phenomenon, where people believed that an apocalypse was to come and we had to prepare for the end of the world. This phenomenon even resulted in a Hollywood movie in the United States called 2012. The 2012 phenomenon struck fear in many people around the world, as some people truly believed that the world was coming to a definite end on December 21st, 2012, because that is when the long count calendar had ended a cycle. Many people of many different backgrounds had prepared themselves for an apocalypse, which obviously never happened. Prior to their conquest by the Spanish, the Mayans were very sophisticated and lived in huge cities and metropolises, which they built themselves. The demands they placed upon their environment, social, and political networks were too large, and ultimately the civilization crumbled. Revolutions and conflict took place, and millions of Mayans were forced to flee their cities. By the time the Spaniards came to take over, they had found many ancient ruined cities taken over by jungle. The Mayans were living in small towns and villages, and their population of millions had vastly decimated as a result of the revolutions and conflict in the past. The colonization and conquest of the Mayans officially began in 1512. It took the Spanish about 170 years and several expeditions to finally conquer the Mayans. Along with the Spanish conquest, the introduction of European diseases decimated the Mayan population, as they had absolutely no immunity against any of the diseases they were exposed to. The goal of the conquest was to locate the supposed vast quantities of silver and gold. Traces of silver and gold were found. However, the Spanish did not find the riches they were expecting. The Mayans built some of the largest pyramids in the Mesoamerican world, and built cities in the jungle. They used materials readily available to them, such as limestone, sandstone, and volcanic tuff. They built the largest pyramids in the Mesoamerican region, and their buildings were all decorated with carvings of glyphs and pictures. They were also the first to create chocolate. Chocolate was very important to Mayan culture. Despite this importance, it was not reserved for those who were rich and powerful. Chocolate was available in common to all people, and was often enjoyed with every meal. Their chocolate was a frothy type drink and was consumed regularly. The Mayans had also developed a very sophisticated writing system. The Mayans considered writing to be a gift from the gods. Most of ancient Maya could not read, as the writing was guarded by those who were elite and powerful, as they believed they must guard the ability to read and write as to have power to talk to the gods to themselves. There is no Mayan alphabet. Rather than letters, Mayans use glyphic cartouche. This is equivalent to the words and sentences as what we use in our writing system. These glyphs represent both sounds and ideas, which makes it very hard to interpret. There are 800 individual glyphs in this writing system. Some archaeologists consider the Mayan writing system to be one of the most sophisticated in Mesoamerica. Some of the glyphs have more than one meaning, making it very hard to interpret properly. Thank you for listening to my research and finds on the Mayan culture.